So I am still in Quebec right now. I'm here for a preview event for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I can't talk about it until the 23rd, but make sure to subscribe for when I can talk about it. But what I wanted to make this video on is what's happening with the Switch 2. Now, what's really interesting about the Switch 2 is that everybody knows that this exists. Everybody has seen the leaks. I mean, I'm making my bed now while I'm filming this, so you think I have it together, but I don't. It's almost time for dinner. I'm filming this before we go out to dinner, so I'm trying to multitask, so forgive me. But the Switch 2 is weird because it's leaked like crazy. Even at CES, there were partners of theirs that were releasing footage and trailers and pictures of cases for the Switch 2 with just the Switch 2 in the trailer, in the pictures, even though it wasn't announced yet. Really bizarre, simple, stupid mistakes. And what's weird is Nintendo didn't need to have that mistake. They could have shown the trailer they just dropped in December, in November. They didn't need to wait so last minute for it, but nonetheless they did. But now that the trailer's dropped, it matches the leaks, and it's basically a slightly larger Switch that has magnetic attachment points for the controllers instead of rails. It's going back to an LCD screen instead of OLED, which is really disappointing because it's literally a step back from their newest and best Switch, which is disappointing. But I mean, let's be honest, they're doing it to save money, to lower the cost. But even that, we don't know right now. We don't know if this is a $300 device. We don't know if it's a $400 device, a $500 device. Frankly, I'd be shocked if it's over $400, and I'd be shocked if it's under $350. I mean, I think they are threading a needle on price point here, and they know it. Even when we did a poll on stream back on Tuesday, most of you guys were saying that $400 was the sweet spot. Something like 70-80% of you guys were saying that you would not pay over $400, and that was a fair point. So I guess it's $399 or something. But what I wanted to touch on is that Nintendo stock price is usually a good indicator of how the company health and the company and investors feel about a reveal or announcement or a release or whatever. And what's interesting is that I have it pulled up here on my phone. The company stock on Friday after the announcement dropped as much as 7.2%. And it rebounded a little in the afternoon, to be fair, which happens, when a stock that is pretty well established has a bad day and gets slaughtered. You have a lot of people that go in there and buy it up when it's cheap, and then that rebounds the price a little. It's like the old Warren Buffett saying where he's like, when everybody is fearful, be greedy. And when everybody's greedy, be fearful. And that's kind of how Wall Street tends to work, is when the stock drops, people are being fearful, scared, whatever. That's when you get in there and buy it up if the company's good, and do the opposite when the opposite situation occurs. But all this is beside the point. What's interesting is that they finished the day or the week down 4.2% after the announcement of their big new console that they've been working on for almost a decade. And they'll recoup that, they'll level out. But what that tells you is the sentiment around the company. And the sentiment among investors is that the performance of the Switch reveal trailer, the reaction to it more specifically, because the views are good, but it's the reaction to the trailer isn't what they wanted to see. And I've seen this on social media, a lot of people just being like, it's boring. And I think that was always going to be the reaction, so long as this was going to be a next generation Switch. I mean, it was always going to look pretty much the same. It was always going to be an upgrade in hardware. And I do think it's going to be a significant upgrade. I think it's going to be way more powerful than the current Switch. But I think a lot of people were hoping, without realizing it, for that Switch announcement feeling, for that PlayStation 5 reveal feeling, for that big whoa moment where you just get excited and it seems crazy and bold and new and just different. And that didn't happen with the Switch 2 because it's an evolution, not a revolution. And I think that for a lot of people that's just disappointing. They'll still buy one, they'll still get it eventually, I think, but I think the level of hype is not where investors wanted to see it. But it'll still do very well, I'm sure. But it's a very different world in 2025 compared to when the Switch launched in 2017. Now the market is flooded with handhelds. I mean, I brought my handheld with me to play games on the plane, on the flight here. I wouldn't have been able to do that in 2016, really. In 2017, I would have been bringing a Switch, but now there's just other competitors that make compelling arguments. I mean, one of the big selling points for the Switch for the first 2-3 years of its life was that it was the third-party game console. Like, you could play 360 and PS3 games on it on the go. I remember when I found out that I could play Black Flag on the Switch, or LA Noire on the Switch eventually, I got really excited because I was like, I want to play these games on the go or laying in bed without having to boot up a console, on a TV in my bedroom or something. I was like, I just want to lay in bed and play LA Noire, and I can do that with the Switch. But now there are so many competitors. There's so many other options that have better screens, that have better battery life, that let you play Game Pass titles or Steam titles or whatever else. And so it's just frankly gonna be more difficult for the Switch to make that same big splash that it did back in 2017. And some people I saw on social media were like, this is another Wii situation. It doesn't look different enough. It's going to confuse grandparents and parents buying Christmas presents because it's just going to look like another Switch. I think it's too early to tell. I think the clear naming scheme will help a lot. Calling it the Switch 2 will help because it's clearly not the original Switch. And if they stop selling the Switch, the OG one, and they clear that out of store shelves and they don't try to do like the Apple thing where they sell last year's phone next to the New Year's phone, if they can be good with inventory, I think that'll help a lot. But it does look very similar. I mean, I do think for the average like parent or grandparent that's looking for an easy Christmas present or birthday present for little Jimmy, they would get them confused. And I mean, we all have heard the horror stories of a kid that's really excited to get his PS5 for Christmas, and his parents aren't gamers. They don't know. They go out and they buy like a PS4 because it's cheaper. And they found it at GameSpot or GameStop. GameSpot's a journalist website. GameStop for like $80 on a trade-in or something. And I don't know if that's going to happen with the Switch. It's going to depend on whether they cut inventory of the OG Switch, which they have to do, right? Like, there's no way they keep that in stock. But it's just, I think my gut, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts in the comments, so please voice those thoughts. I'll be reading through them because, like, my gut reaction is just, okay. And I didn't think that would be my reaction to the Switch 2 reveal. I thought I'd be like way more excited and really, pumped up for April. But instead I'm like, okay, yeah, looks like a Switch 2. I mean, it's just not, maybe it's not exciting. Maybe that's just what it is. It's very predictable and it's not that exciting. I'm sure the games are going to be great. I'm sure it's going to perform well. It'll be a worthy upgrade for a lot of people, but it's not the same feeling as the Switch from 2017. And I think that's what investors are frustrated by. And I think that's what a lot of people are communicating and feeling. So let me know what you think of the Switch 2. I find it fascinating. I'm sure the stock will rebound and do fine, but as of right now, it's a console reveal that is much more tame in reception than I expected it to be. And I just find it very interesting because I thought that this would have been a smash hit, but it ends up being kind of just like a bloop instead of a splash. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be looking at those. I get back home tomorrow, and then we're back to regular streams and videos and stuff. My vacations and trips are over for the time being, so I cannot wait because I am a homebody and I'm going crazy not having my gadgets or creature comforts because I'm a homebody. I like living under a rock. So that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you when I get back to Colorado. Much love. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.